Hi guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to be looking at the Dreaming Shadow. Now this was one of the masks that I got most excited about when I sort of read through their lore and had a little look at their traits and everything. I sort of thought, yeah, this is going to be the mask for me. Over time that's changed a little bit, but I'll go into the reasons why in just a moment. So quickly, the Dreaming Shadow are kind of like the sentinels of the Necron tombs. They basically sort of make sure that they watch to make sure that they're not coming back, to make sure that the ancient enemy of the Eldari isn't rising again. And it says here they're steeped in the grotesque and the ghastly, which just sounds pretty cool. And they like their death jesters. So when I first looked at this, I was like, oh yeah, that's the one for me. And then looking at the trait, well, let's read through. When a unit with this form fails a morale test, only one model from this unit must flee. In addition, each time a model with this form is slain or flees, roll a d6 before removing that model. On a 4+, that model can either shoot with one of its ranged weapons as if it were the shooting phase, or make a single attack as if it were the fight phase. Now, I got really excited about this because I thought, wow, you can get a lot more efficiency from an already fairly elite army. Like, as they die, they can sort of attack again. And, I can see why Nick from Beer and Back Reps loves this mask as well. He uses it on his Skyweavers and Voidweavers, which is probably the most effective use of it. Looking at it, it's kind of pushing you towards, some Skyweavers and large 12-man blobs of troops. Because then you've got near morale immunity. So if you were sort of thinking in terms of battalions, like 3 units of 12 big troops, and then some backed up by some Skyweavers, that sort of thing, with some characters, that's kind of what it's going for here. So the morale check thing is useful. It can be very useful, particularly if you're taking something like engineers. So I did take this trait at the tournament that I went to in London. It was a bit hit and miss. It can be really funny when it works. It can be really annoying when it doesn't. So it's not really one that you can rely on. It also requires you to actually die and also be within 12 inches of something if you're going to actually do anything to it with your infantry. So it's an interesting one. It kind of almost splits the trait between what you would want it to do. So with your 12-man troops, you're probably not going to get a huge amount of use out of like the shoot when you die thing, unless you're taking something like neurodisruptors and deep striking them in and not getting shot to bits by Allspec scan or something. That might be an option. It's something that I did test out. Didn't work so well for me, but on the bikes it can be amazing. And not fleeing with morale, you want your big troops. That's the thing that you really want for that. Well, that was quite a long look at the trait. Anyway, continuing on their specific stratagem. An example made. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase. Select a Dreaming Shadow character from your army. Until the end of the phase, each successful hit roll made by this model causes 2 hits, and hit rolls of a 6+ made by this model cause 3 hits on the target instead. I've spoken about it before. I love this stratagem. On a Death Jester in particular, but that doesn't mean that it would have to just be on a Death Jester. You could put it on a Shadow Seer to shoot his grenade twice, have potentially 2d3 mortal wounds. But I love this with a Death Jester with Curtain Fall. It's 1 CP, it's not that expensive. If you're lucky you get the 3 hits, you're probably going to get the 2 hits. But having those 2 hits with the Shrieker shot, or then up to 6 hits with the Shuriken profile on Curtain Fall is really good. I find it really useful for like sniping out, little Imperial Guard, annoying company commanders, that sort of thing. And with the Shrieker profile, it could be amazing at just removing annoying infantry that are, taking objectives and that kind of thing. Like moving something off an objective, just shooting it, and then getting your D3 mortal wounds on there as well, and getting a couple of them, and then we can go into that later. But then you've got the reduction to the leadership and all the rest of it, which can be really good. I love this stratagem. I use it every game. I don't think there's been a single game where I haven't used it. It's been very rare that it hasn't helped me in some way. I love it. Or of course, sorry, just to round off, you could use it on a Troop Master with a fusion pistol to double shoot your fusion pistol into something's face. Okay, let's look at their Warlord trait. Okay, the Warden of the Dead. Add 1 to any sombre sentinels rolls made for Dreaming Shadow units from your army within 6 inches of your Warlord. Add 2 instead while there are any Necron units on the battlefield. Someone's car alarm. I used this at the tournament and kind of wish I hadn't. It seems amazing because you can really control like the center of the board with your units of bikes and that sort of thing, but it actually hamstrings you as well. Because then what you want is you want all of your your bikes and your units to be close to your warlord, and then they're not going off and doing what they want to do, if that makes sense. So Harlequins are not the kind of army that you bunch them all together in one central point. You want to be going off into the corners and taking lots of different things, and it makes very good use of the trait. It's a really good way of buffing the trait, but I think it really reduces the amount of movement and maneuverability and board control really that you have with your entire army if you're not careful. So I've played it, and I'll admit that I just wish that I'd taken a different trait. But it is what it is. I prefer the Player of Twilight with pretty much any army, but particularly on a Death Jester of the Dreaming Shadow with Curtainfall. Okay, looking at Curtainfall, the relic. Death Jester only. Curtainfall replaces the Bearer's Shrieker Cannon and it has the following profile. So it has the Curtainfall Shrieker, range 30 inches, assault 1, strength 7, AP -3, damage 1. And Curtainfall Shuriken, 30 inches, assault 3, strength 7, AP -2, damage 1. When attacking with this weapon, choose one of the profiles above. Each time you make a wound roll of a 6+ for this weapon, that hit is resolved with an AP of -4. Each time an infantry model is slain by an attack made with this weapon's Shrieker profile, this unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. If any models in the unit are slain by this weapon, subtract 2 from that unit's leadership characteristic until the end of the turn. This modifier is not cumulative with that caused by a Shrieker Cannon. I love it. For one thing, it has the biggest range of anything in our army, which is embarrassing, but it's true. So it's the only thing that has a range of 30 inches in the entirety of the Harlequin's book. That's one reason to take it. Death Jesters are snipers. That's another reason to take it. Snipers are always good. Try and get rid of some of those buffing characters, or at least knock a few wounds off them. And you can really cause havoc with this thing. When you've got a unit of, let's say, 10 Imperial Guard, or 8 of them left, or something like that, you could use the Shuriken, just to try and wipe them out. But in that sort of situation, I almost prefer to use the Shrieker Shot and an example made, because potentially you kill 2 of them, and then on top of that you've got D3 mortal wounds, and then you've got the -2 to the leadership. And I've cleared units from objectives using this. I find it particularly useful against stuff like if you've got a unit of Eliminators or something, and then you've got one of them down to 1 wound. Then you don't need to use any other stratagems, you just use example made in this. And then you knock the last wound off it, and then you do the D3 mortal wounds on top of that, potentially killing another one on average. And then sometimes the other one runs away. It's been so much fun. And also, you need to have something to kill sniper units, because your characters kind of are the lifeblood of your army, and if they start to go down, then everything starts to fall apart. So I love this relic. I don't take Dreaming Shadow as a whole, but I take 2 Dreaming Shadow Death Jesters and a Vanguard, almost purely to take this, put the Player of Twilight on it, although you can put the Luck of the Laughing God as well, just for the rerolls. Player of Twilight also gives you a reroll, so I wait until it's important and then use that. Excuse me. And I just love it. I think it's fantastic. So that's pretty much it. If you are looking at playing a pure Dreaming Shadow army, you are looking at big blocks of troops. certainly a few bikes. You might even consider Void Weavers, and what Nick does, I know, is he uses a brigade with all 18 jet bikes and Void Weavers who can then shoot when they die, and he does use the Warden of the Dead. So I know that he likes this one. For me, I have tested it. I've tried a few different things. I've used, neurodisruptors, so for deep strike shoot, and when someone shoots back, I shoot anyway, and even if they all space scan me, then at least I get a round of shooting in there. I've tried using it on the bikes and trying to, get those extra shots out of it. I love the mask. I really want to like it more, but I wouldn't say this is one of your more competitive choices. It's, got an awesome lore, awesome fluff. They've got an interesting sort of varied color scheme as well. That sort of, if you like that, go for it. If you think that the Dreaming Shadow is for you, go for it. Build around that trait. Build around the trait, and always add in that Death Jester, just because they are fantastic. Okay, I know not everyone rates Death Jesters. People see it as a waste of points, but for 45 points, honestly, you're getting this objective, grabbing, sniping, annoying character that is just so much fun. I love them. They're like my favorite thing. I think in terms of the lore, they're probably my favorite unit in the whole game. And in terms of like their playstyle, yeah, it would be nice if they were a little bit better. But I think they do what they should do for 45 points. Right, guys, that's pretty much it on the Dreaming Shadow. Let me know your thoughts. Have you had a huge amount of success with them? How have you been building your armies based around that trait and all of those different things? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks a lot, and see you next time. Bye.